Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. We traveled all the way up to northern New Jersey to Sussex County. We're going to do the Franklin Fire Department. We're going to talk to one of their former chiefs and their historian. So let's go see what they have. The drive up here was absolutely beautiful. It's an awesome little location here. But what's cool is we're going to be talking to their historian and former chief. Hello.
Hi.
You are
Phil Crabb.
Phil?
Yep.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting us out.
Oh, not at all. Glad to have you guys here.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting us up here. So this is the Franklin Fire Department?
It is, yeah.
How long have you been in existence?
Franklin Fire Department was first incorporated in 1911, which was 2 years before the town incorporated.
Okay.
Franklin Furnace at that time was part of Harrison Township. In 1913, they separated out and became Franklin Borough.
Okay.
But we've been going since like 1911.
Wow, you got a lot of history here.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different nuances around here that are very interesting.
Okay. Now you have one of the smaller firehouses that we've seen on our channel, but you got a pretty unique firehouse here too, because there's a lot of different phases throughout the firehouse. Can you walk us through some of that?
Yeah, sure.
stuff?
Well, where we're standing was the lounge that was built in 1971, and let me also preface this by saying that everything that you see here was built at no cost to the taxpayer.
Wow, okay.
We've always had skilled firemen over the years, and this part was added on in 1971 to the main building, which is where we can walk to next, and that was built in 1963.
Okay.
The original firehouse was on Main Street, which is now the Franklin branch of the Sussex County Library System.
Okay.
So we've kind of migrated around, but this has been here, wow, just about 60 years now.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take a look around.
Sure.
We'll come back and show the audience a little bit what this is about. But back here, you said this is where you started.
This is part of the original building. This is the hall. We run all of our fundraising events here.
Okay.
We have spaghetti dinners. We rent it out to people where there's so many wedding events here. There's so many little kid birthday events.
Right.
But it makes it available for the general public to be able to use as well, and also benefiting us.
Right.
And like I had mentioned before, this whole building was built by skilled craftsmen that were also firemen. The section that we're in now was built in 1963.
Okay.
And
one of the things that we've talked about in our channel for many different episodes is the availability of skilled craftsmen in firehouses and the generations of firefighters that come in to the firehouse. So, you know, my son, my grandson, and all those end up being firemen.
Right.
And those also bring those skills to build places like this.
Yeah, back in the early days, almost all the firemen worked locally.
Okay.
There's no commuting. Like now, I'd say probably 90% of the fire department commutes out of town, which of course makes coverage challenges and for things like that. But back in those days, they worked around town or for the zinc company.
Okay.
The New Jersey Zinc Company was the world's largest zinc company.
Okay.
And they built everything that you saw driving into town here. All the houses, the school up on the hill, and they're the ones that started the fire department back in 1911.
Wow.
You're going to see some antique apparatus as we walk through here. They were purchased by the zinc company. We actually have Sussex County's first motorized pumper.
Okay.
Meaning that it wasn't a hand car or
Right.
it wasn't a horse cart.
Yeah.
And that was bought right off of the showroom floor in 1915.
Okay, and you still have that here?
We still have that here.
You viewers, pay attention, because I think we're going to be able to see that later.
Yeah, we're gonna take you down to the museum that we built to you know, to conserve all of these special things from the early day, you're also going to see our second motorized pumper, which is a 1926 American La France. Plus the original hose cart that the poor guys, they used to have hose cart shacks scattered around town. So when the fire whistle went, which was the big steam whistle at the zinc company, and by the patterns of what those whistle blasts were, firemen knew what part of town that the fire call was in, and they'd go to the nearest shack that had the hose carts back then, and they would just run it up to
pretty
like
ingenious back then.
Well, yeah, you know, Franklin has always been a place that adapted and made do. You know, that was one of the ways that the early departments made do. As a matter of fact, and we can show you the plaque that we have here, the firemen that were active at that time are still referred to as the hose cart firemen. And I think the last one just like passed away probably just 15 years ago. So that was really something.
That's pretty
really
cool.
Special.
So about how many people can this hold? How many do you host on these fundraisers?
We've had 350 people in this room. That gets to be tough, and you have to worry, and of course you have to worry about like fire codes. But one thing, when our own firemen built this, they built it good, so that the load was no issue, so that anything. And as a matter of fact, it was in the late '80s that we added the kitchen on. And we have a nice spacious kitchen now, because the kitchen used to be from this pole over to here and this deep.
Almost like the galley kind of kitchens.
Our like trademark event here is the annual venison dinner. And back in the old days, we used to put a venison dinner on for those who had done a favor for us during the year, especially with the construction of the building or some of our other projects, and we put it on free. They, you know, top shelf drinks and everything like this, and some of the best venison that I argue that you'll ever eat, and creamed onions, which is a very important part of that. But what happened was we also found that since they got invited to one venison dinner that was all formal, you had to wear a tie, we had a head table, speakers, that they couldn't wait to do something else for us to come back to the venison dinner the next year.
That's a good way to keep the community involved, keep that you know, that involvement of not just the community but your members and everybody else.
When I first got in, of course, you're on the kitchen crew, meaning that you're cleaning 250 plates and putting them through a hole in the wall to like stack up. And we didn't get done until 11 o'clock night. But when we built this, now you can see that we've got that we've got modern equipment. And,
this is a full-time chef's kitchen. You have the Hobart machines to do all those dishes that you talk about. Now, you got prep tables.
Now you get people volunteering to do the dishes, and I would have taken hostages to have to go back to that.
You got two big stoves, wash sinks, prep tables, everything that you need. The hood. So when you do rent this out, do they have to bring their own caterers? Do you guys do the catering for the events?
No, they have to bring their own. We don't have a formal catering crew and in-house catering crew, except for our own events that we hold here. Then we're normally self-contained. Something like that.
So if I'm in the residence here and I want to have this as a rental, how do I go about doing that?
We've got a central number that you can find on our website, franklinfd.org. And they sell out quick during the year, especially for weekend dates. But I'm not sure what the current rates are, but they have a rate to not only use the hall, but to use the kitchen and everything like that, and they can bring their own caterers.
So now the other thing that I noticed is how long this place is. Where do you store that historical stuff?
Right underneath us here is where the museum is. It's just off of the bays where we've got the modern trucks. And right underneath us here is where they built a museum, probably in the late 60s. To start, because luckily The two old trucks that you're going to see from 1915 and 1926 were saved and preserved by a local car dealer, Joe Colsar, who just kept them for us to be able to, and then donated them back to us to restore, which was an ongoing project for probably 15 years from the late 70s through.
Right.
But both trucks can actually operate. They can pump still.
Okay.
They can everything. They've got nickel chrome.
Wow.
And the oldest one, the 15, was bought right off of the showroom floor, and you know, one of these little turning things.
Okay.
And was delivered by the railroad.
Okay.
Okay. And the interesting thing about the railroad, when there was a big hotel in Franklin. It was called Littell's Franklin House.
Okay.
That's what they call it. That caught fire. And what they did was the only Stanley steamer that was in the county was in Newton. So they knew this thing was going to be going for a long time. So they put the Stanley steamer on a flat car and brought it by railroad all the way to Franklin, took it off.
And then fought the fire.
To help to fight the fire here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So this whole top level comes up from a back parking lot. I was able to make it into your social hall there.
Yep.
But all your apparatus are in most of your offices, and that museum is downstairs, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We've. This is still probably the only fire. You were there talking about the size of the firehouse. That it's like one of the smaller ones. Mm-hmm. But it's probably still the only firehouse in Sussex County that has 3 full-size pumpers underneath the same roof.
Okay.
So it's kind of unique that way.
Right. I noticed the pictures when we were walking by. Can you kind of tell me what these are all about?
Yeah, these first couple, this first panel is for deceased firemen. You can tell that it goes all the way back to the beginning because of the double-breasted buttons.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You
the
don't
old
see
Class
many
A
of them
uniform,
anymore.
double-breasted. Yeah.
And there's a lot of relatives on here that are relatives of current firemen. We've got 3 and 4 generation firemen here.
Okay.
And it's, you know, I gotta digress a little bit. My first structure fire, my first year, was just up on Maybe Street. And we went in and we got the fire out. It was a big fire, and we got back to the firehouse. And it was old guys and young guys alike sitting around the pail that you clean the mass off with, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it was at that point that I knew it wasn't just volunteering. At that point, I knew this was going to be a way of life.
Yeah,
You
totally
know,
is.
I'm sure that like you understand that too. And
The one thing that we have noticed going across the country is that generational, and it's a way of life for those families, not just for an individual.
Right.
The wives, the children, the grandchildren, they all kind of get involved.
Everybody gets folded in.
Yeah, they either are helping in the kitchen, or they're on the truck doing the calls, or they're helping doing the fundraisers or something like that. It's really all generational, all hands on deck.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and the other one is the exempt firefighters.
Oh, I'm
What
sorry,
does that
right?
mean?
The exempt means that you've served 7 years and made a minimum percentage of your total calls, which include fire calls, which include drills, which include special events or anything like that. And if you've made that, the state of New Jersey gives you what they call exemption, which means that you're eligible for the burial benefit, which is substantial. I think it's like $11,000.
So the community and the state gives back to those firefighters that gave their time.
Yeah. The funding for that comes via insurance companies. So a piece of the fire insurance that you get charged for your various residential areas gets thrown back into this state fund to support the exempt.
That's a good way to do it. It's a good extra benefit, for me giving my time and effort and, really risking, life and limb sometimes to give back to those guys that are doing that for, volunteerism.
And almost everybody on this board I served at some point with. Look at that. There he
is. Looking good there.
Well, no, but thank you for lying so
So
nicely.
down here are the active members.
Active members, yeah.
About how many active members do you have?
We're authorized for up to 45.
Okay.
When I first got in, there was still a waiting list. That hasn't been the case lately, but we still get, robust replenishment from the younger guys. One of the guys that we saw out at the bar out there was Vinny Lamont.
Okay.
And he's a third generation fireman here.
He's actually the one that contacted me through Facebook because he's seen some of the videos. He reached out and says, "Hey, would you be interested in coming up?" And my answer is always absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of timing and getting up here.
And the chief is Kyle Conklin, who is a second generation fireman. And I went to school up to the old Franklin High School with his dad.
Okay.
So there's a lot of tangled webs going on.
Right. And the last one here is all your ex-chiefs.
All the ex-chiefs, yeah.
So, or former.
Oh, yeah.
How do you want to say it? Ex versus former?
Yes,
So we'll step back out into your social lounge here because I just want to take a better look at this.
Yep.
This is designed for you guys to actually sit down and relax and actually have social time with each other, correct?
Yeah, it's a time to be with each other. It's a time to eat your McDonald's lunchtime when there isn't anybody here.
Right.
But yeah, this was built, and the chief had a lot to do with the floor here. We did everything. This floor was just replaced. I believe it was the exempt association, that bought the chairs. But it's a nice place to come after,
right?
A fire too, and to just decompress.
Yeah, you definitely got to decompress.
Like
the things that we see on calls, you have to have a place to kind of decompress. You don't necessarily want to take some of that stuff home at times.
No, yeah, and thankfully up here that's few and far between. But we have had a couple fatal fires here.
Right.
It hasn't been one of our own, but we've had 2 firefighter fatalities too, which you don't expect up here.
No.
It was from our mutual aid companies, but.
As I'm looking around the room, you decorated this with a bunch of trophies. You guys do a lot of parades?
The fire department is very proud of the way that they present themselves. And we go to regional parades upstate New York where like you may know that they really take the parade seriously.
Very seriously.
And we do very well. Not only does the company go, but we have our own internalized color guard too.
Okay.
That's respected around the companies.
Right.
And
many of the mottos that I see from Firehouse to Firehouse is respect, integrity, pride. This is what shows.
Yeah.
And when a firehouse is doing it right, their members are excited to be here.
Yep.
They get that sense of that pride, that integrity, all that kind of stuff that goes along with it.
It's not for showing off. Well, it is maybe a little bit, but it reinforces the effort and the care that you're putting in.
Exactly.
One of the byproducts of these trophies is that the trucks are kept in tremendous shape.
These guys are giving their time. They're giving their effort, and this is a small token to say thank you. You guys did a good job. You're doing it well. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
I have to say that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we used to have the walls lined with them. You're going to see a lot of the older ones, including sterling silver and the more ornate ones when we go down to the museum.
Okay. I noticed some guys behind us. This is Chief, right?
Yeah, right. Chief Kyle.
Chief
Conklin,
Kyle. Thanks for inviting us in, Chief.
And firefighter Vinny Lamont.
Yeah, Vinny.
A third
thanks
generation.
for inviting us out. We appreciate what you guys are doing and asking us to come out and showing off your firehouse here. So once again, thank you. Quick question for you, Vinny. How did you find us?
Just watching YouTube.
Okay.
I was on there one day. I think I was watching an old parade video of the Sussex County Parade, and I saw your video come up, something about, I don't know, like what's inside this type of apparatus.
Yeah.
And then I started watching them. Now I watch it every Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you reached out to us via Facebook, I think I remember. So if you guys are ever interested in having us come out to your station, get a hold of us. Send us an instant message on Facebook. The best way to get a hold of us is go to watchheroesnextdoor@gmail.com. Send us with your location, contacts, and a little brief history about your station, and we'll try to get you on the schedule as soon as possible. So once again, I want to say thank you for watching. If you haven't done it yet, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe, hit that notification, and smash those like buttons, because it really helps us build so we can keep seeing firehouses like this. So how about let's go take a look at this museum. So we made our way from underneath the kitchen, right?
Right, you were directly underneath the kitchen.
Okay, and this is your museum?
Yep.
Wow, you got a ton of stuff here.
Yeah, we're missing one right now because we have it loaded up for the next parade.
Okay.
Both of these are actually operational. They both pump. That's the 1915. The one that I was telling you was the first motorized pumper. This was the second motorized pumper that we got, and this one's a 26.
Okay.
1926.
Okay.
Now, to give you an idea, this 26 is as old as our oldest living member, 96 years old, Eddie Midland, who still golfs 3 times a week,
Right.
square dances and everything like
That's
that.
awesome.
He's like the Fonzie of the Firehouse. you
Yeah,
know, so.
and I think when I was talking to Vinny when we set this whole
Yep.
thing up, we might be doing a station rigs of that 1915.
Good.
So we'll come back to that. We'll show the viewers that in a little
Great.
bit, but we're going to do a whole nother episode. So pay attention. Maybe next week or the week after, you guys are going to see a 1915 pumper go into action. So what is this behind us here?
This is the steam whistle. Remember that I told you that the hose cart fireman would be notified by a steam whistle going off in various patterns.
Okay.
Well, on here you can see what those patterns are. If it blew once and then once again and then once again, it means that it was down by the mill.
Okay.
Which means is where the big zinc company place was. Other places, the hospital, they have all around town back then. And then people would run to whatever hose cart shack that they had closest and
Right.
drag the hose carts there.
That's pretty cool. We
But-
hear a lot of the bells around us, or
Yeah.
the wind-up horns and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But using a steam, I mean,
Yes.
steam goes in there and it just
Yeah,
whistles.
this is actually a connection that we put on to try to do.
Yeah.
We had the biggest compressor that we could find. And we built it up, and it just went like this, right? This needs volume and pressure.
Okay.
So the zinc company ran on all steam, ran everything steam-wise.
Right.
The zinc company provided electricity for the town, but that was generated by steam.
Okay.
Right? You put into this, when this went off, they could hear it at Greenwood Lake.
Wow.
Which is an hour's drive from here, right? This was loud. You knew when there was
There's something going
a fire
on,
call.
pay attention. I love the fact that they actually mark it out. They
Yeah,
made a
yeah.
list. This is something you can actually put on a business card or something like that. And so I know.
That's exactly
is.
what they did. You know what? As a promotional thing, they made business cards that on the one side had this, on the other side had the map
Okay.
of Franklin and where these zones were,
pretty
like
slick.
on the map, and it was sponsored by one of the local businesses. So it was just because everyone had one of these things because they needed to know where the fire was.
Right. Now in here you have more trophies. I see that. You have a pretty good rack back here. What are all the horns about?
The horns are the chief's horns. What they
Okay.
are is back in the old days before they had radios, they acted like a megaphone to shout out orders
Okay.
to everybody. In the Franklin Fire Department, once you've become chief, you get one of these engraved to yourself personally.
Okay.
And all the ex-chiefs that are still march with it under their arm, filled with roses or the flowers. So we've saved as many as we could find, like from families, donating them back to the fire. They're all silver plated or chrome, depending on what the era was.
Okay.
But they all have our names. I got mine home.
awesome.
One of the most cherished things I got.
Is this the map of your area?
No, yeah, that's Sussex County.
Okay.
And that's a famous map from, I believe it's 1860. This is the one that's in the best shape of all these maps. These are like $3,000
Wow.
collectible
Okay.
maps. We found this all rolled up in one of our closets here. So we like.
So
put
to
it
give
up.
the viewers, we're right in this area now?
No. Franklin was part of Harrison Township.
Horace,
So
okay.
we're actually right there.
Okay.
Right there.
All right. And
That's
this
where
is
now
all
we've got
county.
yeah. And
Very slick.
and this old pump was at that gas station that I was telling you about, that the guy preserved these apparatus for us, just to give them back to us later
Right,
on,
right.
you know? And for the 15 that you'll probably see later or in one of your other broadcasts,
Okay.
American France, when it was still operating, offered us a brand new equipped fire truck straight up to trade that for it.
You're like, no.
Do it.
You also have some hose carts? Or
Yeah, this is their this is actually a little fancier because it's a chemical hose cart.
Okay.
So this is one of the last ones that they used when they were still pulling hose carts. But it was this type of thing that were in these dispersed shacks that, depending on where the fire was from that thing, they'd go to that shack, pull it down, and drag it. And here's one. This is an actual one that we used here, and this is one that will take to parade. This has been in the Columbus Day parade,
Okay.
and has just won a trophy up in Port Jervis.
Right. Now this is hand drawn. This isn't horse drawn.
Hand drawn, right?
So
right.
the way this works, make sure I got this right, Chief.
Yep.
Basically, this cord would come out and give you an extra length, and you get 3, 4, 5 guys to kind of pull it where you need to go.
If you had everybody that you needed, like you're saying, all these ropes pull out ahead of the handle here, and you'd have 2 guys on each side of the ropes and 2 guys like on the brass handle here,
Right.
Because you had to go up hills too. It isn't like it was just flat or anything like that. And,
I think this is where the tug of war competition started.
yeah, we do pretty well with the tug of war. We haven't had one for like some, but we had a couple guys in here. All they had to do was just lean back, and
You
we
were
win.
good to go.
Yeah.
Man, this is absolutely phenomenal. I love the fact
Yeah,
that
and here's
even though you
another
have a
thing.
småller station, you're keeping a lot of your history here for the
Yeah.
new generations to see.
Have you ever seen one of these?
That
know what
looks
that-
like a trampoline.
Trampoline. That's the one where they used to hold it, and you would jump from the second floor. And
Would you do it?
Not a chance. I don't think this was ever used in anger.
Okay.
I don't know how you convince someone to jump out of a perfectly
Well,
good window.
When you're desperate, you're desperate, and you'll go out it. But you know,
Well,
you
we've
gotta-
kept some of the older things like this. This is from.
Do you mind if I hold it?
No, sure. 1916.
Wow.
And you can see how ornate around the top it
Right.
is here too.
That's absolutely beautiful.
And you can see if you.
I feel very privileged right now because a lot of the museums that we've gone to, we've seen one in New Hope, Eagle Fire Company. We went to the Reading Fire Museum. They're all behind glass.
Yeah,
I'm actually holding your history right here. So thank you for letting me do this.
And this wonderful cabinet
Yeah.
was in the parts room of the guy that owned the gas station that had the pump that gave us. And you can see some of those really old ones. They're silver.
Right.
Plated. You can see the ornate artwork around the top rim.
Yeah.
See that? And just neat
And
stuff.
you know, just back then, these are handmade. These are not, you know, these are all very custom handmade pieces for you guys. Absolutely gorgeous.
So
I'm
we
going to
keep-
give that back to you, Chief.
Okay. Some of these were even won by the hose cart firemen that we talked about. It's just nice because it kind of gives you the opportunity to do a little time travel yourself. you know,
Yeah.
to just imagine with these guys.
Right. One of the things that we've always struggled with, that we're struggling with in America, is the lack of volunteers over the last couple of years. Back, you know, when I started, there was a lot of volunteers. As you mentioned, you know, there was a waiting list to get in.
Yep.
And most recently, you know, we're seeing a decline in those volunteers.
Yeah, we're having that here too.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're trying to do is reach those younger generations. So, you know, the viewers that are out there that are watching this thing, pay attention because we still need those volunteers.
And you know, you don't realize what you have until you don't have it. And it's just tougher because we have to pass the same criteria as what a New York fireman does. And back when I first got in '79, you weren't even born yet. When
I was.
Back in '79. It was only 60 hours for firefighter 1. Now it's 3 times that.
Wow.
And there's, there's hazmat folded in now. There's confined space. There's
EMS.
There's all, extraction.
Right.
We didn't even have that science. We use crowbars and Halligan tools to get things open.
Right. So if someone wants to volunteer with you, maybe the next generation is watching and they want to volunteer, how do they go about coming to the fire company to volunteer?
The best way to do it is to see any fireman. We are all over, or they can go out to the website, and on the website I think there's a link to send a communication that you're interested.
Do they have to have that 300 hours to come here, or do you guys help them through that?
No, we pay for it.
Okay.
And we've got a very robust county fire school, fire academy. We also do some courses which are available in Morris County too. Wherever that they are, we'll send these guys out.
Right.
We also encourage ongoing education, ongoing training. As a matter of fact, there's increasing levels of requirements as you climb the officer ladder.
Right.
And that's just to make sure that they're prepared coming up.
Right.
And that's what's tough when you've got lesser numbers now, totally. Back in the old days, we had 45 guys, and it was a little easier for the natural progression. Now they've got less guys, but the good news is they can still put fires out.
And I hear you guys are actually doing a lot of mutual aid with other companies because they're struggling. So it's not just your company, it's everybody in the area that's kind of struggling.
And it's just adapting. Like you say, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of the firemen that built this firehouse worked locally. All right, that's not the case now. So any type of a daytime fire, it can be pretty thin and close to the vest with regards to response. So we have mutual aid agreements with Hamburg, Augsburg. Whenever Hamburg has a fire, we get simultaneously dispatched. It becomes la-di-da-di everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just for the safety of the firemen responding to 80%. Maybe even more, are false alarms where you get called off going there, but I'd rather get called off getting there than get called in too late.
Exactly. So, well, I appreciate everything that you've been doing for your community, what you've done over the years, being a former chief and stuff like that. We really appreciate the work you did. If you are in the Franklin area and you're interested in becoming a volunteer, whether you're a skilled craftsman and can help, do an addition or anything like that, they always can use your help. Come on down to the firehouse, talk to the guys, hang out in the social lounge. They'll let you know what it needs to take, but we always can use your help. So whether you're a fireman now or not, or you want to become one, come on down. So we still have to see your engines. You are an all pumper company, right?
We are an all, like I say, I believe that we're still the only company in the whole county that's got 3 full-size pumpers under the same roof, because we only have 1 fire station.
Okay.
Some of these towns have more, but they got fire stations.
Can we go take a look at those?
Absolutely.
All right. So I want to say thank you to Chief Phil for showing us around their museum. We're going to meet up with Chief Kyle now, and he's going to show us their apparatus bay. Once again, thanks for inviting us in.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for making the trip.
Yeah, this is unique because you are all engine company, right?
Yeah.
And you have 3 different engines here?
3 different engines,
Okay, but what's this?
This is our utility. Back in the day, they used to have a big bread truck. Now we got this. It's a 1996 Ford chassis with pretty much like a glorified ambulance.
Yeah, it looks like an ambulance, but it's not. It's the utility. So
It's a utility.
And that means you can bring extra personnel.
Yep.
Extra equipment.
Yeah.
Does it do rehab and stuff out of here then too?
We can. We actually have a couple of different medical agencies that actually come out and do the rehab for us. Plus we also have a couple of our mutual aid fire departments have ladies auxiliaries.
Okay.
So they actually will come out, bring food, water. If it's hot like this today, they'll hydrate us up.
Right.
Other than that, this thing pretty much, if you miss a truck, you're getting on this. We got the spare air bottles. I think there's like 20 on here. So it's kind of essential to have. But behind one of those, obviously.
Right. Yeah, every fire company's got to have a utility.
Yeah.
What's right next to it?
This is our 2007 Suffin pumper. It's a 1750 pump. It's got 750 gallons of water on it.
Now,
this is kind of our go-to. It's pretty much our first due right now.
Okay.
It's it's set up the most to be a first due interior attack.
Okay.
We're getting there. We're going in. It's got our tools. This one actually has our foam inductor line right on here.
Okay.
So it's kind of convenient, even for a car fire, we could pull right, nose right into it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you got, you know, our foam inductor. You got our the mixer right there, so everything is kind of stationary right there. You don't got to worry about trying to position.
That's a good setup.
The driver can see, and he's going right in. You know.
Coming right from the museum, I noticed all the trophies, and the reason you have those is because of the condition of this truck.
Yeah.
This looks like a brand new truck.
Like I said, the 2000. We actually just took our older one. When we get down there, you'll see that's a 2000. It's 22 years old, and we just took that to a parade up in Port Jervis. So when you see the condition of that, you'll see. You know, we take pride in it. We spend months down here cleaning. We take everything off, clean it. The tools are stripped, repainted, put back on. You know, we go around with Q-tips.
Right.
So
this is beautiful truck.
Actually, in the back of this one, when we get this pulled out, I'll show you. We actually still have one of the old booster lines.
Okay.
The reel is right in the back.
Yeah.
Which you know, when we take it to parades, a lot of the older judges are like, "Wow, we don't see this anymore."
Right.
So.
Right. I like the black over red.
Yeah, we started doing that. This was the first one we started doing that with, and then this is the sister here. We just got this in 2019. We actually took over the jaws of life from the first aid squad who used to run it at our town, which is, you know, kind of different.
Okay.
A lot of fire departments have always been the rescue. We haven't. We've always just been the fire department. It was probably about 7 or 8 years ago we took the jaws over, and we just had a regular basic engine that we kind of stripped half of it and made it like a rescue, but it still had 1,000 gallons of water on it. This one we changed. It still got water, 750 to 1750 pump again. But we have this set up as more of a squad. It's got the rescue. We started doing RIC team here.
Okay. What does RIC stand for?
Rapid Intervention Team. So
Okay.
it's more or less of a team of firefighters that are outside ready to go in case anything ever happened to the guys that are interior.
Okay.
You know, we're kind of standing by. We got our tools. We're packed up, ready to go. And if something happens, we're shooting in and we're trying to help them out.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That's
So
what this is.
even though you take this one out first, this one has your rescue tools.
Yeah, if we're called for as far, you know, a car accident, or if we're called specially just for the RIC team, this is going first.
Okay.
Other than that, that's usually going. This is right behind it, but that's
Right.
more of our.
They
first
almost look
than
like
this.
sisters.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you have one more over on this side.
Yeah, and like I said, this is our oldest one. We're hopefully getting ready to replace it, unfortunately, but this is a 2000 KME.
Okay.
This has 1,000 gallons of water with a 1750 pump again. It's kind of a thing that we have here is a 1750 you know, gallon per minute pump.
Okay.
But like I said, it's a 2000. It's 22 years old, and you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at it.
Again, it looks absolutely brand new. So when you're ready to sell this, let us know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, one of the things that we're trying to do on Heroes Next Door is we want to give away a fire truck.
Okay.
So, you know, if the price is right and the timing's right, maybe we can purchase this from you and give it away to somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
so
we actually, this one actually had the sister was this one. They looked exactly the same, but it was a 10-man cab instead of the 8.
Okay.
We actually sold it to one of our companies in the county, Sanderston Fire Department.
Right.
They actually bought it from us. The chief of there actually started here. He grew up here. He was a second-generation fireman here. Went up to Sanderston, became chief, saw that we were getting rid of it to get this thing, and he was like, I got to have it up here because their town doesn't give them what we have. Our town buys all of our apparatus, the stuff that we need to equip it. You know, if we want anything special as far as newer equipment, stuff like that, we fundraise, we do the work for it, but the basic necessities, our town, we're very lucky, will help us and provide that.
So it's a good partnership between the town that helps support and buys some of the bigger high dollar things, but you guys then, you know, take on the responsibility
Anything
of
new
making
that
sure
we
it stays
want,
new, 22 some odd years old, and getting the stuff that you want above and beyond that.
All the newer technology, you know, as far as like the fast board that we got, we purchase that ourselves. We don't take that out of our budget. That's stuff that we raise money for, and then we go and buy it, and then we train on it and put it into service.
Right. Speaking about the fast boards, I've been negotiating with the guys from Fast, so maybe you'll see a training day, and I'll come out and,
that'd be cool.
show you how it works.
Perfect. Yeah, we actually have 2 of them that are all equipped and set up.
Good guys.
One's on here and one's on 3.
Okay. Do you have any other vehicles that you normally have?
Yeah, we actually just, again, the town just actually purchased us a new chief's vehicle.
Okay.
Ours was a hand-me-down from the police station. Our oldest one blew up. It was a Jeep. It was on its last leg.
Okay.
They gave us that, and it's not feasible. You can barely fit gear into it. You can't really do anything. It was kind of just like a mobile radio. So, you know, we started talking, me and the officers started talking to the town. They agreed to buy us a new vehicle. They've never bought us a new vehicle. We've always had hand-me-downs. It's the first brand new chief's vehicle we had.
Okay.
It's over here if you want to take a look at it.
We'll
It's not fully equipped yet, but it's a work in progress.
It's a good looking truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 2022 Ford F-250.
Okay.
Obviously we have it all lettered. I have a couple hand-me-down lights from the lighting company that we're going to use and a siren so I could have it in operation.
Right.
But we're going to get the cap on with the command center, the rollout trays. and
Okay.
obviously, we're going to get all
One
the
of our
lighting
sponsors is Deck, so if you're interested, check it out.
Yeah,
check
perfect.
out what our, we're doing a review of it. I have one that put in my truck, and Deck is a great company.
Okay.
It's American made. It's right here. You can put a lot of weight on top of it. You got the drawer systems. So when you're outfitting that, let me know.
Yeah,
Maybe
will.
I can help you out.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely look at that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We also talked about your older engines.
Yes.
So these are all running,
Yep.
and your antiques are running.
Yes.
The 1813, right?
1915
1915
is the one in the trailer.
Is in the one in the trailer. Do you think we'll be able to maybe take that out?
I'm hoping someone's going to get here to drive it. I mean, you got to be kind of a special kind of person to be able to drive one of those. But one of the guys that can drive it is hopefully going to come down and take you guys out on it. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
Well.
So thank you for showing us
Yeah,
around.
Absolutely.
Once again, this is Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for watching. We're in Sussex County, New Jersey. We're at the Franklin Fire Department doing the station cribs. Before we end, do us a favor, hit subscribe, hit notifications so we can keep bringing you more. Hit that like button. Last but not least, we do have a merchandise page. It's watchheroes.com. You can get yourself a new hat, one of mine here, or anything else. We got a lot of t-shirts, sweatshirts. We appreciate it. It helps us raise finance so we can go see more fire departments. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next week.